Well, so much can be said for attracting hopes and dreams into our lives. But what if I were to tell you that it's actually our attitude about things that determines the who, what, where, when, and why of what we're attracting for manifesting our best lives in 3, 2, 1.
Pushing the boundaries of expectations and rewriting the rules of adventure are the reasons we get up in the morning. This is a way of life. A huge and growing community of explorers and adventurers, leading the way, blazing new trails, and raising the bar. We share your hunger for a life without limits, and we know you'll stop at nothing to get there.
Greetings, kinetic believers all around the world. I'm Stephen Kenyon. So glad you could join us for another adventure of attracting our best lives. If you'd like to send an email with questions or comments, send it to kineticbelief@stephenkenyon.com. stephenkenyon.com is the website for you to peruse. Speaking of perusing, hello, Maggie.
Stephen.
Yes, ma'am.
You're wearing jeans.
Yeah, I'm in the mountains.
It's been such a long time.
Well, who's going to wear jeans in the desert?
I know.
For long anyway.
I forgot we could do that.
We're in Park City, Utah.
Yes.
Temps are in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, delicious.
Glorious.
Light jacket, sunshine.
Okay, you know, we kind
mountains.
of got stuck, didn't we, in Sedona. Sedona's beautiful. Love
is,
Sedona, but
it
we weren't supposed to be there in August, and it kind of happened to us.
That sounds stupid.
Yeah, well, I was a victim of the desert in August.
I love that
It
we're
wasn't my
trying
fault.
to blame this on someone else. Like, you wouldn't believe what happened to me.
No,
I went to Sedona.
yeah, I got stuck.
That's great. We're just so grateful to be in the mountains. But, you know, it's different for everyone, right? Like, I've known people who cannot get enough of the dry desert heat. I can't get enough of the cold mountain weather, though. I just love it.
But it was fun. You know, I enjoyed it in the spring, but again, the virus, we had flights that were being canceled one after the other. We had 3
Yeah.
flights. We were going somewhere else, and they were all canceled.
It was cray-cray.
And so we were sort of stuck. And but yeah, it was a little more difficult to do the hiking in August. But anyway,
Yes.
here we are, and I got to say, our first day brought a tear to my eye. I mean, we were out in a grassy park in downtown Park City,
Yeah.
and dogs chasing each other while laughing in their barks, children chasing bubbles, girls playing lacrosse.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just people
just
living life. It's been
life.
such a long time since we've seen everybody out and just living life, right?
How about those dogs?
Oh, my
All the
word.
puppies and the dogs, so many, and they don't have a fence, which I thought was really cool. And we were like, you know what? If you have a dog that needs a fence, you probably shouldn't take it to the dog park, right?
I guess, but
Maybe.
good luck with that. I mean,
well, there
our
were-
dogs that we used to have would be long gone without that fence. They were terrible, though.
Oh,
they were terrible dogs.
But these dogs, there must have been 30 or 40. There wasn't a fence there.
That's
and they would
true.
run in circles and play with the frisbees and each other.
Have you noticed, though, that mountain dogs in mountain areas are always so well behaved?
Well, they're big.
That's true.
Have you noticed that?
That's true. It's the little guys you have to keep an eye on. But yeah, it was beautiful. The sunshine, the people living life. So
Get outdoors and find a way to live life. It's so good for the soul. Well, let's jump right in. We're going to today talk about the attitude of attracting. If this is your first time joining us for a podcast,
welcome.
welcome aboard. Look, the law of attraction is a subset theory to the law of kinetic belief. I founded kinetic belief after combining quantum theory with philosophy and religious studies a number of years ago. And one of the most profound obstacles that there is to attracting our best desires is that of a person's general attitude. It's how is it that you naturally think about things? And I mean everything. When you look in one direction, how does that make you think? When you turn on the television, how does that make you think? What is your attitude about the neighbors, about life, about the neighbor's dog, whatever? What is our settled way of thinking or feeling about something or someone? How do you feel about someone else, about your sister or your brother? How do you feel about your mother or father? What do you think about the leader of our country, of your country? What do you think about the president? Now, why is all of this so important? Because the energetics of our attitude is self-centric to the laws of life that we must understand if we are to manifest the lives that we want. Our attitude is actually an indicator of what we're about to experience. In other words, in exactly the same way that an airplane's attitude will determine where the plane will end up. If you're a pilot, that's part of the process of becoming a pilot, is you understand the attitude of a plane. And it's going to determine the course the plane is going to take. Regardless of whether we want financial prosperity in our lives, an advancing career, love, perfected health, whatever the desire may be, it's our attitude, not our ability, but our attitude that determines what the law of attraction is going to manifest into our lives. It's our attitude that's going to determine the direction that our lives take, the journey, the path that we're on. So without the properly aligned attitude toward life, toward ourselves, and what we would like out of life, we're pretty much staying where we are, exactly where we are, stuck in the life that we're living by repeatedly attracting what we already have, if we've not properly aligned our attitude toward life. In other words, without the correct, positive attitude about money, about relationships, about health, and about joy, about happiness in life, all these things, we will not advance in those areas.
This always feels like a huge topic because a negative attitude is one of those things that it grips you. When you have it, it feels almost impossible to come out of. So I'm always so excited to talk about this topic specifically because any tricks and tools and tips that you teach us, they're just so valuable.
Well, when I say proper attitude, Meg, I'm referring to how we view our lives and the challenges that our lives present each one of us. And plus, how we respond to other people. This is a big one in 2020, if not the other years of our lives. But now, these are the attitude indicators that demonstrate how the law of attraction is affecting our lives. Understanding, first of all, in the micro, the microscopic, what we constantly believe about things creates a quantum inertia of energy that attracts like-kind energetics into our lives, like-kind forms, like-kind circumstances. Understanding in the micro what we constantly believe about things creates a quantum inertia of energy that attracts like-kind energetics into our lives. So understanding now in the macro, in the large, the big, expansive life, an attitude it's exactly what helps us to get exactly what we want out of life, whatever that may be. You've heard the saying, is the glass half full or is it half empty? We've all heard that. Yeah. In other words, our attitude about how we view this glass, it gives us an indication of how we might view much of our lives. How we view the glass is going to be either a positive, optimistic attitude with an enthusiastic expectation, or how we view the glass is a negative, pessimistic, a bad attitude expectation that we have about our lives. A positive attitude inspires motivation, while the negative attitude has no expectation for anything that someone doesn't have any passion for. So kinetic belief creatives, those are the 1%ers who put in the work of developing in their holistic positive attitude about all things, for all of life, for every area of our lives. In other words, keeping a bad attitude regarding just one small little what you believe to be an insignificant thing while imagining to attract something good in some other area, it's not going to fully satisfy the good desire. For example, if you hope to become rich at the expense of others, then the wealth that's manifested in your life will come with sorrow and with the energetics of regret. And those negative energetics will then manifest other things that align with sorrow and regret. But if you hope for a new car, and you go into the negative energetics of debt for the new car, then the new car is going to come with sorrow and regret 6 or 8 months from now. So if you believe for a great physical body, but the pursuit of your good physique is out of balance with other areas of your life, and it disregards your mind or your soul, then a fit body is going to manifest with regrets. Look, a harmonious attitude regarding all matters in our lives is necessary for attracting our best lives.
You know, it almost feels like what you're teaching us today has a lot to do with assumptions, the assumptions that you're placing on your life. Because I know with you, no matter what happens, your gut reaction, your assumption about any situation is that it's good, is that it's positive. And so it's interesting how we do have these preconceived ideas of assuming that things are bad, assuming that things are good. So I would like to understand better the connection between assumption and attitude.
Sure. Well, first of all, one thing to be aware of is that it's possible to be optimistic in some areas of our lives while remaining pessimistic in others.
Yes.
So, it's also possible to be optimistic some days while pessimistic on other days. So what I'm about to say, a lot of people may not like hearing this, Meg, but our attitude is not based on feelings or emotions. So that's not a scapegoat, even though you would like to say, well, I just don't feel good. That's why I'm acting this way. Sorry. You might want to have others buy into that, but that is not an excuse.
So attitude is more choice-based.
That's right. While we can have negative feelings and emotions, and we all do, so it's a physiological thing often. Our attitude is what we think about things.
Wow.
Not how. It doesn't matter what you feel like. The attitude is what we think. Knowing the difference between these two is going to help to more clearly consider and work toward what we want from our lives.
I have to say it's very empowering that you are separating out attitude from emotions, because emotions feel one of the hardest things to control, and even though we need to, but attitude is sort of the thing that we're choosing, the thing that we're going after. I love that.
How often have you heard something like, well, Nancy's just got a really bad attitude today. Well, why? Well, she doesn't feel good.
Who, Negative Nancy?
Negative Nancy. She just doesn't feel, or Ned.
Or Ned.
Let's don't pick on Nancy.
Negative Ned.
Well, without the right attitude, a person is lacking the energetics for advancing their mind, body, and soul toward perfected completion while enjoying their best life. So without that right attitude, motivation to desire a better life, it's just not going to be sustainable. And it's double-mindedness begins to set in. The law of attraction gives what we really want if there aren't any negative distractions.
I love too this idea of attitude awareness that you're showing us today, because attitude awareness is something that you can be choosing your attitude, however, not realizing the attitude you're choosing. So our defaults probably aren't great about most things, but then realizing that, to not choose is to choose.
I like, defaults usually aren't great, are they?
No.
There was a young lady who came into quite a few of my workshops years ago, and she once said something to the effect that, well, men can't be trusted. You can't trust a man. Yet she spent her days looking for a man. The attitude of her disgust, what she was seeking means she was double-minded.
That's
and
true.
As a result, the law of attraction couldn't grant her desire. Part of her was despising what the other part was seeking.
I can't imagine the man she would finally attract if she
Isn't
ever did.
that true? Right?
That sounds
And what
terrible.
man would want to be with a woman that thinks they can't be trusted?
Right.
Did she was the deal was it that she really didn't trust men, or did she not trust how they made her feel?
Well, and that's a great point, because that's a great example, that one specifically, because take relationships, for example. Just because you've been burned by one person in the past, that should not set the course for your attitude for all people, for all time. But we tend to do that. We tend to take one experience and then paint our entire life with that one experience. So this is, this is elevating us. Attitude can elevate you beyond circumstances, beyond experiences.
Kind of sounds like a trigger, doesn't it? Look, checking our
Yes,
attitude,
yes.
that's how we fly successfully. Having an optimistic, positive, glasses half full attitude regarding all of life is necessary for kinetic belief creativity to attract the abundant life. Here's what actually happens when we meditate, to journal a blueprint for our best lives. The quantum particle scientific evidence of the creative bias for everything in the universe has a unique design for every human being. And the discovery of the Higgs boson, or the God particle, creating mass on different vibrational frequencies throughout the universe, has begun to answer many of the philosophical and centuries-old questions regarding how does life unfold for the individual experiences that we each have. We know what we believe. Actually, it has a quantum particle substance to our belief. And so the substance, it creates observable waves, which changes according to what the observer believes. So if reality can change according to what the observer believes, then what is thought? What is reality? I mean, how is it that observation actually changes things? How is it that the quantum substance of our beliefs creates our experiences? How does a subjective belief even become an objective reality? How is it that one person experiences life in one way while another person is experiencing it in another way? Well, in quantum theory, the universe is expanding. It's advancing toward perfected completion, where all things will form in alignment with the original blueprint for design. Now, what this means is that there remains incomplete abstracts throughout the universe, where particles of substance haven't yet made it to their final vibrational destination yet. What we human creatives have is this innate ability to believe one way and have that way manifest into our lives. What works the same way for everyone is that our lives will either advance in alignment with a positive attitude of our beliefs, or it will fail in alignment with a negative attitude of our beliefs. We cannot opt out of this way of creation. Somebody might be listening to this for the first time and going, you know what? I just don't want to do that. Well, wait a minute. You're doing it. You can't. This isn't an option. You can't opt out. This is the theory of all things. I mean, something is happening at all times. Something is in attitudinal flux at all times. With the ability to imagine human beings are either advancing or retreating. You're moving forward or you're going backward. Nothing stays the same. You're advancing or retreating from the original intention for your abundant life. And when we have a negative attitude, we're actually plotting a course that moves us away from abundance in some area. And as a result, the opposite is attracted into our circumstances. And development just continues negatively away from the original intention for a person's life.
You know, recently when you were talking about expansion on one of the podcasts, you said that your mantra or motto that you would always use with any new situation, small or big, was, this is going to be great. This is going to be good. This is going to be amazing. And so I'm wondering if you're using that to set your attitude, to set that course for expansion.
Absolutely. When I speak those words, what I'm doing is I'm reaching for the control dial in my aircraft that I'm using for my journey. Yeah. And I'm setting a course by speaking those words. Look, quantum particle attraction, which creates the circumstances that we experience, is remarkably predetermined by the attitude of our creative bias, by the words that we speak, by our expectations. So when I say, oh, this is going to be good, regardless of what this is and what this looks like, it always attracts the good end result, right?
Yes.
So, well, let's go even smaller into the micro of particles, because I want you to get this. Everything that has mass in the entire universe is made of the same stuff, right? I mean, the difference is located within the vibrational frequency of things. The atoms, for example, that create a rock vibrate on a different frequency than those that form a tree. They move at a different rate of speed, giving the rock a different form than a tree. And what researchers have discovered is that there was a blueprint for every form in the universe. There is, if you will, an order for creation that existed before expansion, before the Big Bang. Quantum theory has revealed how particles are changed when they are observed, and how they are attracted to form a bias or belief. So here we are looking at how anyone can become anything microscopically. How is it one person becomes one thing and another one another? It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your education is or where you came from. What this means is that literally and plausibly, we can change the life that we're experiencing at any time we choose. Every single human creative was created in the image of the Creator with an ability to attract their expectations while intentionally using the power of kinetic belief, the law of attraction will explode your dreams into reality. Nothing just happens. So to change our circumstances, change our physical body, the enjoyment of our intellect, our state of attitude, all things will change according to our continual chosen observations.
You know, I have to say this topic today, it feels very exciting, but in a very optimistic way. And I don't think I'm saying this right, but it just feels very hopeful, because it feels as though we are working in the root of these issues, and we're working at the root of expansion. And so it feels like as long as we get this one thing right, then we're setting this very clear course. And not that we can go on autopilot, but if you set the course correctly from the beginning, it just seems like it's going to be so much easier on us.
Well, take the statement you referenced a few minutes ago. All things are good. All things are working together for good. This is going to be good. Now, overlay that on, you choose the situation.
Yeah.
I mean, just anything, choose it. And you look at that and you go, well, that's working together for good.
Yeah.
Now, what that means is that the thing that you are observing is neither good or bad until you label it as one or the other. So if we look at a thing and we go, oh, this is going to work together for good. Now, it may look horrible on the surface. The knee-jerk triggered reaction and to that thing may respond or cause a response in you that says that's a bad thing. But if we stop before we judge it as that and we go, no, wait, this is working together for good. The imaginative observation that we're forming by speaking that and overlaying that as a lens for all of life, through optimism, that good attitude, one that's producing an unconditional love for all people and for all things, it creates those good thought forms, and that begins the attraction process of the good thing or the good outcome. But an imaginative observation, which is formed either through optimism or pessimism, a good attitude or a bad one, unconditional love or disgust, good thought forms or bad ones, is going to be the end result of that that's going to then attract the expectation for that situation.
I have kind of a sidecar question here to the topic today. A lot of times, the most challenging part of change is this hyper awareness of how people that live with you day in and day out see you. And so this idea of going from a typically negative or even neutral seeming attitude to a highly positive attitude that you're obviously expressing throughout the day. Sometimes the mental hangups can come from just seeing yourself through other people's eyes. And so I just want to ask you about that just for a second. How do we overcome that mental sort of peer pressure just to stay the same and just to maintain who we are?
That's a great point, and it's often a difficult one to overcome, and it always begins with the process of rewilding ourselves away from the expectations of others, looking within to determine your genius of purpose. Yeah. And if you're around somebody who has a toxic personality based on attitude, my goodness, this is the first place you've got to begin is to cut them loose as far as the expectation of their own attitude. Because somebody who's in a position of authority in your life with a bad attitude can make for a long, hard day, right?
And a lot of times you're right. I mean, even what we're discussing is more bark than bite, that people wouldn't actually respond to you in a strange way or think that you're weird for seemingly changing overnight. But it's almost like it's your attitude about changing your attitude.
Well, that's true. And then also, look, we've gotten out of the practice of validating ourselves according to the expectations of others. Yeah. That's the KB creative. That's the way of our lives. And so we have to practice that and recognize that, you know what, the KB creative lives to discipline their thoughts and all of their disciplines, all of their thoughts for life. We are disciplining ourselves daily through the practiced habit of journaling our highest viewpoints and thought forms away from the expectations of other people and how we perceive others to see us, because it no longer matters as long as we're looking within rather than without. And so the KB creative goes back to their original good intention for their life, back to their genius of purpose, before there was any negative influencer that ever showed up in their life.
This, as you're teaching us, I'm realizing how powerful this tool of attitude really is, because yes, when you are looking for a job or a life mate, yes, attitude can help. But then also recognizing that this is going to carry you through the really huge things in life. We heard recently from a listener, and his father is currently passing away. But his attitude as a kinetic believer about what was happening was absolutely carrying him through. And I was just amazed at that email we received, and just the power of attitude from that perspective.
Attitude is going to be everything for the positive, life-expanding kinetic believer. Understanding that there are no spiritual birth defects. Our purpose for coming into the natural, for even being here, for having this experience, is to be a unique and a one-of-a-kind, beautiful expression of life. Have you ever really stopped to look within? I mean, really to discover your own unique and beautiful self? Most people would say, well, probably not. What are the characteristics and strengths that make you a gift to the world and those people that are around you? I mean, do you accept the things that make you different, or do you hide your unique qualities because you don't think that someone's going to accept you? Because maybe you're fearful of their bad attitude, so you're just hiding all the time. And you don't really speak words of edification and encouragement and championing yourself or even others. I mean, are you accepting the things that make you different? Because these are the questions that's going to reveal whether or not you are in a position to be able to attract your best, unique, purposeful life or not. There's no such thing as common, there's only average. And average is the person that has a good attitude about some things and a bad attitude about other things, so what? They just remain average. Happiness, true happiness, is the optimistic attitude for advancing toward perfection in every area of our lives, to not develop in the optics for imagining the best about everything, to not write an optimistic story for our beliefs. That stops us from manifesting our best lives. Look, our dreams and visions, those are the guideposts for our imaginations. And our imaginations are formed by our attitudes.
How do you set your attitude course for every day, every morning?
Imaginations. And begin it first thing in the morning, regardless of the what's being expected of me today, either by myself or other people. I use imagination, seeing myself successfully navigating through this day, seeing myself relating with others. It doesn't, regardless of who they are, regardless of what they may be going through or not going through at any time in their lives. I've imagined myself navigating beautifully through this day and interacting with other people in a positive way, and to advance my mind, body, and soul in every way. And then I'm working through my guided journal to do this. And so it's a daily process of meditation and managing expectations.
I have to say, it seems really powerful, this idea of setting your attitude about a circumstance before that circumstance even shows up. So I like this idea that you're reviewing your day and you're setting the correct attitude, pre-setting your correct attitude before it even happens.
Right. Well, with the right attitude, our imaginations are our confidence builders. So here we are. And I'll tell you that if you are a human being, and you probably are, then you have a built-in advantage. Congratulations. You have the substance of belief that's necessary to manifest your heart's desires. And with the knowledge on how to cast down negative attitudes, negative influences, the original intention for your best self will continue to attract in ways that go beyond your best imaginations. Your life is a partnership. I mean, you have your part, and the universe contains the rest. Our Creator envisioned the very best for each one of us. I mean, it's already there. You don't have to come up with the imagination on your own. It's already been planted and sown on the inside of you. And you know it's there. You've had those moments. I'm not telling anybody something they don't already recognize. You know deep down, if it's not at the surface yet, you already know that you're special. You already know that no one seems to think like you. You already had those peculiar moments where you think, I'm really strange because I'm not like these other people. Well, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with them. That means there's everything right with them just like it is with you. You're supposed to be different. All of us are. And so these are the confidence builders that we have by using those imaginations with the right attitude. Our Creator envisioned the best for us, and it's already on the inside of us. And all we need to do is to accept it by aligning ourselves with it and believing it. And then we can enjoy the best of the rest.
Wow.
The successful KB creative doesn't look to the future for an expected outcome. I mean, we understand success is in the journey of attitude. Meg, our day-to-day will either be successful or not based upon the attitude that we go through this day with.
Right.
And we will not allow one thing to change our attitude into the negative energetics of not attracting our best lives. Nothing is worth that. Nothing. And so the law of attraction is in this very moment for all of us. The law of attraction is working for you in your life in this moment, not some future moment. I mean, if you're expecting your best day tomorrow, you don't wait until tomorrow to work on your best day. The future manifests in harmony with your present moment right now. So we become moment-minded of our best attitude for all things. It doesn't matter well, perhaps it matters, but not to your attitude. If you have a flat tire going up the hill this afternoon, God forbid, but if you have a flat tire and you pull off the road to change the tire, you better be whistling a favorite tune of yours and having the correct attitude so that you can quickly get it done safely and be on your way. Because the bad attitude kicks the tire, breaks a toe, loses a jack, and is delayed by probably the rest of the day. Things spin out of control negatively with the wrong attitude. So we choose to become a demonstration of our genius, a purpose, in everything that we put our hands to, in order to reveal to ourselves and to those that we love and to the rest of the world that we are doing something a little different than most people. And it's that attitude that attracts prosperity and is the one that acknowledges that, you know what, we are at our best when our personal needs for perfected health and wealth and joy are continually manifesting every day. Every day we're advancing. We're not having a good day and a bad day and a good day and a bad day. That's average. No, it's this attitude that's held in the highest regard for the best attitude for all things that gets results.
You know, I have to say that flat tire analogy was really interesting, and it really brought this whole concept home for me, because I like the explanation that things will happen in life. The flat tires will happen. You know, the loved ones do pass away, or the relationships do end that we didn't want them to end. However, your attitude is what's going to affect your experience of that thing. So these things will happen. However, we don't have to live in darkness. We don't have to spiral into the depths of despair during these occurrences. And so that distinction really, again, brought this home for me, that the attitude is our power. The attitude is the thing that affects our personal experience through life.
Well, another way to look at this, Meg, is that our first responsibility is always going to be to take care of ourselves first, to promote and edify and champion ourselves first. To love ourselves is to respect ourselves. Yeah. And before we can be a blessing to anybody else, anywhere, living according to our genius of purpose is all about us. It's all about you. It's not about anybody else. It's not about your life partner. It's not about the teacher, the coach, the parent, no one else. It's only about you. And then we become a blessing to all others. A successful, powerful, inimitable, kinetic believer enjoying life from the highest viewpoints connects with all others in service, unconditional love and care on the deepest of levels by finding balance in a peaceful attitude. Wow. Our values and inherent strengths are manifest to advancing our minds, body, and soul, our desires for wealth and abundance in all things, when our thoughts and words and actions are in harmony with our attitude for these things. And look, the competitive world teaches that our success requires all these long hours of hard work and sacrifice, and it requires an attitude of take or be taken, abuse or be abused, kill or be killed, so to speak. But it's the original purpose of all human creatives to be able to create in the image of the Creator, to imagine in the image of the good imagination, to believe in the image of the best belief, and to have the best attitude in the image of the perfect attitude. And here's a little secret. what you will see manifest into your life within your lifetime, your productive manifestation level in this natural life that you're experiencing, is going to be solely determined by your attitude of gratitude.
Wow.
Practice journaling every day with gratitude for your desires having already come to pass for you. And before you begin, meditate on the attitude for your journey. Make certain that, and this is key, make certain that we make certain our attitude regarding all things is optimistic, that it's good, that we can say with certainty that all is well, because the practice of that absolutely changes how we observe life and relationships, hobbies, our health, our wealth and happiness, joy, our purpose for living. I mean, incorporate those positive attitude affirmations that we do on this podcast and we all do every day in our lives. Incorporate positive attitude affirmations to speak out loud and speak words that illustrate your best attitudes. Meditate upon those. And I mean, we do this every day, don't we?
Yes.
We create best attitude articles of faith and best attitude convictions. It's by doing these things that we saturate our subconscious with the genius of our original purpose wisdom. To enjoy our best life, it's not enough to know our purpose by defining our purpose. No, we've got to live in the present tense with the greatest attitude imaginable, which means our journal is our blueprint and guide for life. It's our compass for directing the law of attraction to us. Replace every negative attitude with the understanding of a positive attitude and begin living your best life today.
Wow. Power of attitude.
My friend Maya Angelou said once, she said, "I've learned that even when I have pains, I don't have to be one."
I love her.
The right attitude. Yeah, she had a great attitude. Isn't that it, though?
Wow.
No, I just, this is so powerfully important for all of us.
Yes, it is.
To experience our best lives.
Empowering.
We have to immerse ourselves into this. This is a way of life to be a KB creative. But my goodness, it changes every area of your life.
Absolutely.
Liberation from negative things, it comes from making the daily decision to love ourselves. And we're not loving ourselves if we are tolerating a bad attitude about something. How long has it been since you walked through a grove of trees to think about yourself? I mean, how long has it been since you've done something that you enjoyed doing as a child? How long has it been since you held the hand of a friend while crossing a street to spend as much time as you wanted in a bakery or a cafe? I mean, on the surface, these things, they appear to be pretty simple things, don't they? But it's the simple things, Meg, that have the immense power for building great confidence and satisfaction and fulfillment in this life. It's the simple things that energize great attitudes. Actually, life is very simple. It's when we get our self-value from the opinions, like you were mentioning a few minutes ago, and the judgments of other people that simply complicates everything. Just like small drops of water make the oceans immense in what they are. It's the small things in life that fill us to the full with joy. When the Creator first imagined us, it was that first imagination for you that gave form to your life and for me and for everyone else. It's those original desires of ours that are so sacred to the extent that we're able to manifest them through an attitude of love every day of our lives. But now notice the inner conversations that you have throughout the day and again at night when you lay down to rest. What are you saying to yourself? I mean, chances are most people, the average person is going over and over those negative conversations, the arguments, the fearful conversations that were experienced throughout the day. Make sure that those conversations, those inward dialogues that you're having with yourself are always positive. And the first thing you're going to notice is the manifestation of a quiet peace and a sense of enjoyment and a sense of being elevated in your life. Having the right attitudes is the beginning to all wisdom.
And I love that you really brought this home today, talking about how we are valuable, and this idea that we have to put ourselves first in order to live an impactful life. Because a huge part of being a Connect believer is accepting this idea that you are worth all of this effort. You are needed in the world, that your unique creative genius is needed to those around you, to those in your sphere of influence, and beyond, that you'll never even be aware of. And so I love that you've brought this idea of attitude home today, centric around this idea of put yourself first. Go to the bakery, go for the walk by yourself, focus on yourself. You're allowed to, and not only are you allowed to, but you need to, and the world needs you to. That's how we all fit together. That's how this whole thing works.
The world needs us, and we need ourselves, and the Creator needs us to be an expression of creation,
Yes.
a unique expression of life and what can be. There's diversity in all of us, and that's what makes us uniquely alike. Well, let's work on some highest viewpoint affirmations.
Yes.
Just say this out loud. Say, I'm attracting my desires.
I'm attracting my desires.
With the enthusiasm of a positive attitude.
With the enthusiasm of a positive attitude.
The little things in my life
The little things in life,
feed my joy.
they feed my joy.
I enjoy being surrounded by others
I enjoy being surrounded by others
who are also enjoying themselves.
who are also enjoying themselves.
I am fearless
I'm fearless
as I live my life
as I live my life
with the courage of a positive
with
attitude.
the courage of a positive attitude.
I am manifesting my best life,
I'm manifesting my best life,
and it is now.
and it is now.
That's the attitude of attracting.
Wow, what a powerful tool we now have to implement into our everyday lives. If you're interested in getting a copy of the journal that's on the website, that's going to be stephenkenyon.com. We have hard copies and also digital that can come your way any day, anytime.
So exciting, Meg. I'm ready to launch out into another day of attracting with the right attitude.
Yes, I'm ready to get out there and live today fully. Love to all the KBs around the world, and thanks as usual, Steve, for
Looking
all the
forward
wisdom.
to the next podcast. See you then. Bye.